Every Wednesday, KSNT News political analyst Dr. Bob Beatty answers your questions about the 2016 election. This week, we have two questions from the third presidential debate. Bob Doris asks, was Wallace's question about accepting the results of the election unnecessarily provocative?
And then Jim also asked, in the third and final presidential debate, Mr. Trump said that the election was rigged against him. Have elections been rigged in the past, and can we be confident in the 2016 presidential election?
Oh, good questions. First, let's talk about Doris's question. You know, one of the themes of Donald Trump's entire campaign from the very beginning is that the political system is rigged against everybody, the common person. And then he also has talked about how the media is biased and against outsiders like himself. But what's been different in the last few weeks is he's talking about the electoral, and that's what's gotten a lot of attention. So in terms of it being a debate question, I don't think it was unnecessary or provocative. I think it was really should have been prepared. His answer was, "I'll keep you in suspense." So he probably wanted to be a bit more provocative. What's interesting was after the debate, I talked to some of his campaign officials, and they said, well, he was just alluding to sort of Al Gore from the year 2000, but the interesting thing about Al Gore in that very close race was that a lot of people argue that it wasn't rigged in Florida. Not some Democrats say it was, but most people say it was just more incompetence with those crazy punch-out ballots. So incompetence versus being rigged.
So to Jim's question, have there been rigged elections in the past, and should we worry about it this year?
Well, you know, clearly in the past there's been fraudulent votes in various places. 1960, a lot of people argued that in Chicago and in Texas there might have been some strange things going on with Lyndon Johnson and Jack Kennedy. However, when you talk about a rigged election in 2016, you're not talking about 1, 2, 3 votes that get misplaced or anything. You're talking about something that has to be systematic and on a very large scale. So if that's the case, that means very high elected officials really have to know about it. And so the reason some people were critical of Donald Trump is that when you say that elected high officials from both parties, keep in mind that in some states that are swing states, though they're Republican-led, then a lot of people are complaining that brings a doubt upon the entire American democracy, that nobody can trust the elected officials of the country. And so I think that's where the criticism was.
Now, when it comes to taking those selfies and the ballots, I know Michael, he asked this week, why are taking selfies with your ballot in Kansas illegal?
Yeah, that was a good question. I hadn't really thought about it. And the reason that there's laws in Kansas and other states against taking a selfie of your filled out ballot was to stop voter fraud, because if someone pays you to vote for somebody, they want proof. So most states it's illegal to do so. However, in New Hampshire, a court ruled that it's actually now legal to do so, but it was a circuit court, so the Supreme Court will have to make it legal. So that's why it's still illegal in Kansas. Don't take pictures of your ballot. You could be arrested.
Real quickly, Bob, you'll be giving a special talk on the election tomorrow night. Tell us real quickly
That's
about
right,
that.
7 p.m. at the Bradbury Thompson building at Washburn University. It's free, open to everybody, and people always have lots of questions, so we'll be happy to talk about this election.
All right, talk to Bob and hear him in person. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Well, remember, if you do have questions you'd like Bob to tackle and you can't make it tomorrow night, send him an email to askbob@ksnt.com. He'll be answering your questions every Wednesday leading up to the general election.